I'm making this video because I've never lived up to my potential, ever in my life. In 7th grade, I was tested because I wasn't paying attention in class. In 5th and 6th grade, I got straight A's. I also read over 60 books each year as we kept track of them in our reading diaries. I went to a very good private grade school. The only good part of my childhood. It was Catholic school. You know, it was like tuition was $4,000 a year. And I didn't have any friends at St. Raymond's. I didn't make any friends because I didn't know how to. I felt rejected as a child due to neglect. I won't get too much into that, but so yeah, I was a kid everyone picked on. I didn't have any friends in school. I had literally no friends until 7th grade when I was tested. Then they found that I had an IQ of 129. I was reading and writing at a college level in 7th grade. I was reading at the level of a college sophomore and writing at the level of a college freshman. And the psychiatrist said the solution was Ritalin. And then when I rebutted that I was wary of the medication because there was no longitudinal studies on the effects of amphetamines on the human brain, especially when you're starting at such a young age. I remember the psychiatrist got really angry at me for challenging his authority. So after that, I just challenged everyone's authority because I thought that was the most fucking ridiculous thing ever. And it didn't even occur to me, the fact that he didn't suggest a gift to school or, maybe taking some community college courses online. I could have easily taken ACC courses online at that time. Atlantic Cape Community College. Or in person, even better. During the summer, because they have summer courses. And I could have started college at that age, easily. I mean, in freshman year of high school, I was reading books like The Science of Good and Evil, Why People Cheat, Steal, Lie, and Follow the Golden Rule by Michael Shermer, Consilience, Unity of Knowledge by Edward O. Wilson, The Singularity is Near When Humans Transcend Biology by Ray Kurzweil, Beyond Good and Evil by Nietzsche. And those are just a few books I read in freshman year. In 5th and 6th grade, I read over, I believe, 60 books per year, but they were all fiction books. I started with Harry Potter. That made me obsessed with reading afterwards because, Harry Potter is a masterpiece of child's literature and got a lot of young people in reading. And I read the first book in like 3 days. I didn't sleep. It was so good. And I read like the second book in another 2-3 days. So in 2 weeks, when my teacher in 5th grade, Mrs. Grassi, saw that I was already on the 3rd book, she complimented me and praised me, and she was very attractive, and I had a crush on her. And so part of the reason I kept reading was to impress her, because there was a reading log, and I also wanted to be the person that won. I didn't just want to win, I wanted to be the best, because I wasn't good at sports. I was terrible at sports, and I was rejected socially, so I wanted some sort of approval from someone, and the approval I got from Mrs. Grassi made me get straight A's in 5th grade and read. I wish I had the reading log from back then, at least 60 books. I wish I knew what books I read. I like to get copies of them from my library. But yeah, so in 7th grade, because I started challenging authority, talking back to the teacher, cracking jokes, and I was pretty witty, thanks to all that reading. Witty for a 7th grader. The cool kids allowed me to start hanging out with them, and they weren't actually bad people. It's just when kids see someone that won't stand up for themselves, they just make fun of them, and they weren't bad people, and a lot of them became some of my closest friends. afterwards. And we would do a bunch of fun things, like just childish stuff, like we climb up on roofs, we'd go pool hopping, even just, we we'd walk through the neighborhood, and if there was a pool and the people weren't home, we'd just jump in the pool and play until they got home and then run away. That was fun. And then we'd play Ding Dong Ditch. And we'd dare each other to do stupid things. Like one time I just knocked at someone's doorbell and yelled F you, and then ran away. And then, say stuff to girls, romantic, cheesy stuff. And sometimes it would actually work, and that's how I got my first kiss. Sometimes the girls would laugh, but sometimes they would be like, "Wow, that's so nice. What's your name?" And so I actually was able to start dating. So my childhood wasn't all that bad. 7th, 8th grade was great, but then in high school, I went to a different high school than pretty much all the students from from the Catholic school I went to, which was K through 8. I was alone again, and I ended up getting bullied again, and not knowing, I was, all my social anxiety came back, and I wasn't able to make friends. Though I did have a girlfriend for the first few months, because she was goth, and we shared a similar morose view of the world at that time. And then I wasn't. Then in junior year of high school, I got popular because I eventually, got in shape and learned how to fight a little bit, and I beat up one of the bullies that had always been picking on me. Of course, his friends jumped in and jumped me, and someone video recorded it, posted it to YouTube, so the entire high school saw it. And then all my old friends got into contact with me because they saw it and said they would come for a rematch to make sure that his friends wouldn't jump in and that I'd be able to fight him one-on-one. And then, so the first time I tried to fight him one-on-one, I started beating him, got him on the ground. Then his friends came in, 4 or 5 of them, and they posted it on YouTube. And then a week later, I was able to fight the kid one-on-one and beat him soundly in front of about 150 students from all different schools in the county. And that was great, because after that I got invited to a lot of parties, and it was the first couple times I went to parties, I had bad social anxiety, so I remember one of the first parties I went to, I just found a quiet corner, and they wanted me to be designated driver, so I didn't drink. And so I just sat in the corner and read Ayn Rand's Philosophy Who Needs It, a collection of her essays. Not that I completely agree with Ayn Rand, but, I don't completely agree with Nietzsche, but I read Beyond Good and Evil. I'd read everything. And I don't believe in belonging to any ideology. Ideologies are just worldviews handed to people on a silver plate, where they don't have to think for themselves, and they can just follow people on TV or on radio who tell them what to think about every issue, so they don't have to do their own research, study opposing points of view, consider the logic validity of the opposing arguments, evaluate the evidence, and then come to their own conclusion. For me, politics was always a lifelong research project, and I never assumed to know more than I knew. And I always came to provisional conclusions, that is, conclusions subject to change based on further research and analysis. So I would debate people that were more intelligent than me and better informed than me. Specifically my teachers and my professors. I would debate them, not because I thought I was smarter than them, but because I wanted to see if my conclusions were erroneous, or if they needed revising. And at the very least, they needed more nuance. And debate taught me to not debate in order to win the debate, but debate in order to learn. And that's the foundation of critical thinking. And also knowing that you know nothing. the Oracle of Delphi said that Socrates was the wisest man in all of Greece. And Socrates, being extremely humble and knowing how little he knew about the world compared to how much there is to know. There's no idiom that says, what I know is a drop of water, what I don't know is an ocean. And Socrates understood this, and he eventually came to the conclusion that the reason the Oracle of Delphi said he was the wisest man in all of Greece, was because he knew that he knew nothing. So, having that intellectual humility to know that if you have hundreds of different opinions on thousands of different topics, and you study dozens of different fields of study, you're bound to be erroneous on at least some of those, no matter how smart you are. And, paradigms always undergo paradigm shifts. For example, Newton discovered certain laws of physics, but his paradigm was replaced by Einstein, who proved that many of his fundamental ideas were, I wouldn't say wrong, but needed updating. And now we're come to a new stage where we're going beyond even what Einstein could imagine in the realm of physics, but it's a subject for another day. Regardless, I won't go on and on about epistemology, which is the study of knowledge, the theory of knowledge and truth. But yeah. So I want to start living up to my potential. I'm considering going to law school because I scored in the top 93rd percentile of the LSAT without studying for it. I got a perfect score in every section except for the logic puzzles, which require formulas to solve. It's like Harry wants to sit next to Susie, but Susie can't sit next to John. But John needs to sit 2 aisles away from Michael, and Michael wants to sit next to Susie, but can also sit next to John. And yada yada yada. How do you arrange all these people so they're happy? And basically, there are graphs that you draw to solve these logic puzzles. And since I didn't study for the LSAT, I didn't know how to solve them. But I did my best. I know that if I were to take the LSAT after studying logic puzzles, and which I will do, I could score in the top 99 percentile. And I'm going to see if I can get enough scholarships to pay for the whole of the tuition at any law school so that I won't have to get myself in further debt. Because it's really not the quality of the school, but the quality of the work that you put in. Obviously, there's networking and also the quality of the people there at the law school, at any school, with whom you can have discussions, debates, and dialectics to further your knowledge, because all great knowledge comes through interlocuting or having discussions and debates with people of equal or greater intelligence than yourself. And I don't think I'm the smartest person in the world. There are many people far more intelligent and far more knowledgeable than I wasted a lot of my time of my life just watching TV shows and movies and anime and playing video games when I could have been making videos on various different topics, video essays, writing books. I'd love to write books one day. I have the capacity for it. I've been told by several people that I could be a great author one day, of fiction and non-fiction. But I never had the motivation. But I've come to a stage in my life where I understand the importance of support networks, and I'm developing a support network of people and making real connections with people in such a way that I've discovered motivation. Friendship. It is in friendship that we find motivation. Without a tribe, without a social life, a human being is empty. We are by nature social creatures. We survived only by being part of the tribe, and that's why it's so painful to be rejected by a group, or rejected by anyone, because our survival depended on cooperation with others. We had to hunt and gather with others and trade with others in order to survive for millions of years. It's built into our DNA. A man who can live alone is either a god or a beast, or Or so said Aristotle. So, today I'm going to fast. If you don't know about the benefits of fasting, I'll link below to a great discussion with it between the father of biohacking, Dave Asprey, and a doctor who specializes in the benefits of fasting. And the metabolic benefits, the benefits to your mitochondria, the benefits to your gut biome, the benefits to your clarity of thought, neurological well-being, pretty astounding. There is a euphoria you achieve typically on the second day of fasting, towards the evening. It's very profound. And if you maintain ketosis afterwards by maintaining a bulletproof or otherwise ketogenic diet, a low inflammation ketogenic diet, rich in vegetables and certain fruits like berries and organ meat, you can feel pretty euphoric all the time. And I want to get back to that. There have been times in my life where I've achieved peak health, peak physical health, where I've eaten perfectly for a long period of time, maintained ketosis, took the right supplements like krill oil and the NSI Synergy multivitamin, which was formulated by a group of physicians that really knew what they were doing, and it's quite remarkable. Most multivitamins are complete crap. They're not worth the pill bottle they're put in. But with NSI Synergy 3000, it's a kind of lame name, I know. I don't know why it's called 3000. But with NSI Synergy 3000, which I'll link to below as well, which has a money-back guarantee if it doesn't work for you. Yeah, I'll link to a few of my favorite supplements, and also to a video about the supplements, the 4 supplements that helped me cure my anxiety. But it wasn't supplementation alone that helped me cure my anxiety. I also used cranial electrotherapy stimulation through the Alpha Stim device. I have a video about that as well. In the past I made videos, but I was never consistent with it. Now I'll be making a video every single day about my thoughts, and eventually I'll make high quality videos where I prepare in advance and don't just speak off the cuff, and I'll be interviewing people as well. I would really like to record a conversation with my friend Joe, because he's far more spiritual than me. He has a great deal of wisdom that I don't. And he is my best friend. He's someone that even though he lives in California, we will talk for at least 3 hours, approximately once a week. Sometimes more often, sometimes not. But, yeah. We had the most amazing discussion just yesterday, and that's kind of what catalyzed my decision to really dedicate myself to change. You know, I was able to cure my depression and anxiety and overcome a lot of things from my past, and now I just have to overcome a lack of motivation, which I've been able to start overcoming thanks to having a reliable support system. And I think most people who give advice about motivation and procrastination do a very poor job of it. They give you some tips that can be helpful, but they don't talk about the emotional foundation upon which motivation is founded. And they don't talk about certain tips and techniques that would actually make a huge difference for a lot of people. So I'll make a video about that as well. Well, thank you for watching. Hopefully I make videos every day for the next year, and hopefully for the rest of my life. And hopefully I make high quality videos in the future where I put together PowerPoint presentations, just put my face in the corner kind of like Stefan Molyneux used to do. Not that I agree with everything Stefan Molyneux says. The only way in which a human being can approach knowing the whole of a subject is by hearing what can be said of it by persons of every variety of opinion, and studying all modes in which it can be looked at by every character of mind. No wise man has ever acquired his wisdom in any mode but this, nor is it in the nature of human intellect to become wise in any other manner. Which is a quote that served as a foundation for all education, because critical thinking can only be achieved by studying opposing points of view on subjects, analyzing the logical validity of different opinions, being able to identify logical fallacies, being able to analyze the relevant evidence, and then come to one's own conclusion and making an argument for that unique conclusion. And then revising that conclusion after engaging in debate and dialectics with others, debating in order to learn more, to see where one's argument is flawed, where it can be more nuanced, or where it is perhaps the conclusion is completely erroneous, and then revising one's conclusions accordingly. That's critical thinking. But the only institutes of education that provide the ability to develop critical thinking skills are law schools, because that is where one can study opposing points of view and then engage in debates and dialectics regarding opposing points of view with an understanding of the relevance of the logic and evidence and coming to one's conclusion. But I've been doing that since I was 12. And it's just sad that most people fall into ideologies where they're a liberal, or they're a conservative, or they're a libertarian, or they're a socialist, and they just have their whole worldview served to them on a silver platter, and they just repeat whatever's told by them by people on TV, or, talking heads on TV, or people on the radio. They're the authority figures whom they parrot, whose opinions they regurgitate unthinkingly, like parrots, like sheep. Sad. Anyway, so that'll be the end of this video, because it's annoying, because I made some errors at some point, so I had to end the video and then restart it. I'll have to clip some pieces together. In the future, I'd like to avoid that by, thinking ahead of time, maybe writing out an outline for the discussion, and avoiding having to edit these daily videos at all, because that's time I could be spending working on other projects, and attending to my responsibilities and obligations, and working towards a future of fulfillment, meaning, and happiness, and virtue.